All right, today we're going to explore a really powerful, but actually pretty simple way to understand our emotions. And look, this isn't about controlling them. It's more like creating a blueprint, a map, so that they stop controlling us.
Have you ever been there, just completely overwhelmed by an emotion, maybe anger or anxiety, and you're just wishing you had some kind of map for what's going on in your own head? Well, what if I told you that map actually exists, and it's a simple, systematic approach? Let's dive right in.
So the whole foundation of this blueprint, it really just boils down to one core observation, and it's this. Everything that happens in our mind, every feeling, every thought, it has a beginning and it has an end. It arises and then it ceases. So the key isn't to fight it or to cling to it, but to simply observe its natural life cycle, watching it show up and then, eventually, fade away.
So that's a nice idea, right? Just observe. But how do we turn that into a practical tool that we can actually use? Well, that's where this four-part math comes in. This system gives us a super clear structure to categorize any mental event we experience, no matter what we're feeling.
And what's amazing is how universal this four-step map is. Okay, first, we identify the emotion itself as a form of suffering. Now that word sounds a little heavy, but it just means a state of unease. Second, we look for the craving, the desire that's all tangled up with that emotion. That's its origin. That's the fuel. Third, there's the moment that the craving and the emotion both disappear. That's called cessation. And finally, the simple act of observing this whole cycle, that is the path.
I know, that might sound a little abstract, so let's make it totally concrete. We're going to apply this four-part map to an emotion I think we all know very, very well: anger.
Okay, so first things first. You feel that raw, hot flush of anger? That experience itself, we place it into our first category. Now, this is really important. This is not a moral judgment. We're not saying anger is bad, it's just a classification. That feeling is a state of unease, so we call it suffering.
Next, we look at what's fueling the anger. What's going on underneath it? Is it the desire for someone to act differently? A craving for a situation to just change? That want, that deep craving that gets wrapped up with the anger, that's its origin. It's the spark that keeps the fire going.
And you know, just like any other feeling, anger isn't permanent. It can't be. So think about that moment when the heat finally subsides, when that craving for things to be different just vanishes, and the anger dissolves right along with it. That peaceful state is known as cessation. It's just the natural end of the cycle.
And here's the crucial final step. The path isn't about doing anything to the anger. You're not trying to fix it or get rid of it. It's about knowing. The simple, mindful act of just watching this entire show from the initial burst to its fuel all the way to its dissipation. That awareness right there is the path.
So this table just lays the whole system out at a glance. You can plug any emotion you want in here. The feeling itself, that's suffering. The craving that's attached to it, that's the origin. The moment they both end, that's cessation. And your awareness of that whole process, well, that's the path. It's a simple but incredibly powerful diagnostic tool for your own mind.
Okay, so let's see how this whole thing builds from a theoretical map into a genuine real-world practice. Because, understanding the map is one thing, but actually using it to navigate your inner world, that's where the real value is.
Now, it is so important to be clear about this. The goal is not to become emotionless or to suppress your feelings, not at all. The real purpose is to develop what's known as pana, or wisdom. This is the wisdom that comes from seeing your own mental states with total clarity without getting swept away by the current.
This quote from the source material really just says it all. The entire point of this blueprint, the whole practice, it comes down to this one essential skill: simply seeing the arising and the ceasing of what's happening in your mind moment by moment. So this blueprint isn't just some ancient idea, it's a practical invitation. It's asking us not to judge or fix our feelings, but instead to just become curious observers of them. So really, the only question left is, the next time a strong emotion arises, what will you choose to observe?